Welcome to dentReviews. Today I'm going to be reviewing the TDK BA200 in-ear monitors. These monitors are an excellent value. Overall, these have some great accessories, great sound quality, and at a reasonable price range. They retail for about $150. And what you get for that $150 is this headphone with some medium tips, dual flange tips, two sets of foam tips, medium and large, and a small dual flange as well, so you get 4 tips in total. You get this sort of extension cable, and gives you a little bit of length, and you also get a 1/4-inch adapter, cleaning tool, and a filter changing tool, and then you get a clip. And the clip is primarily used to keep the cable, from swaying around and causing cable noise that transmits into the earphone. This has a few interesting features on this. There's this typical slide that you can use to tidy up the cable and pull it up, just keep the cable ends together. And this here, I don't know exactly what you call this, but there's a little bit of electronics in there. Maybe it's a resistor or a circuit, I'm not really sure, but what they tout this as is a means of controlling the tonal characteristics of the music so that at any volume on any source the music is supposed to sound essentially the same, which is not true of all headphones, and from my experience it seems to work pretty well. So basically this is designed to go over your ear, and the cable just runs around your ear and down from the side. It looks a little bit large, but it fits very nicely. I'll try and show you a picture here in a second. It's very comfortable. The flange, for me personally, are probably the biggest concern about the fit. I don't do well with dual or tri-flange type tips. I do much better with like the simple CompliFoam or just silicone tips. They provide the best feel for me, and they're easy for me. These can sometimes, any of these, not just the TDKs, but any of these tri-flange, dual flange tips kind of can poke me in the ear canal and cause me some discomfort, and they also don't make a good seal for some reason, no matter what I do. So that's the only downfall to those tips for me. However, some people seem to like them. And you also get this case. It's kind of a plush, not velvety, I guess it's plush velvety type of case. You just squeeze it, pops open. I don't know how well you can see that, but just standard case, little TDK logo there. So, how do they sound? Basically, I would consider these the best headphones for the price that you can buy. At $150, the main competitors for me would be the PFE112 by Audiophonak, the GR07 by VSonic, and possibly the Sony XBA3. But the problem that you have with some of these headphones is they have some dips and some spikes in the frequency response, and they each have their own characteristics, but some cause sibilance, some cause a weird sound overall, some cause a lack of sound, a missing frequency. These really don't have any major flaws. I would consider these a very smooth curve. They do dip down a little bit in the treble, which gives what some people describe as a warm sound. I personally don't find them to be warm in that sort of, ooh, that's a cozy kind of sound, but I guess if you consider a lack of treble warmth, then yes, they're sort of warm. But don't let that confuse you. They're not lacking treble per se, they're just not as present in the treble frequencies. They're kind of, I won't want to say rolled off, but the treble frequencies are kind of recessed a little bit. So that's the main reason I would have to give these a couple points off, is just because of that lack of true airiness and treble presence. However, they are still very, very good. They're very neutral over the entire curve. They have decent bass, good mids, good highs, and they all flow together very smoothly with good instrument separation, a very good sound stage, just a lot of depth, and a lot of clarity even despite the recessed highs. So I'd consider these a fairly neutral sounding headphone. And at $150, you're really not going to find anything as neutral as this. The PFE112 is probably similar in neutrality, but they lack the bass that these have, whereas these lack a little bit of the treble that those have. So it's kind of a trade-off, but those are a little bit more expensive. And these I would say probably are a little bit more neutral overall than any of the other sets. So yes, they're very good quality. The cable itself is pretty well made. It's an interesting design here on the tip. It's not really any sleeve per se. It doesn't really look like a sleeve, but it's a little bit of a flex there for stress relief in the plastic. And this is pretty tough plastic here. This piece here just kind of jets out of there a little bit, but it doesn't really feel weak per se. In fact, this part here has that kind of soft, smooth microfiber-ish feel on top of the plastic, although it's a hard plastic. That's nice. It's a flat cable. I find that even though this cable is flat, it doesn't do that well at preventing tangling. It's not horrible at tangling. I've had worse, but it doesn't really improve it that much. I've seen like the PFE 112 has a better cable that prevents tangling more from the thickness and the tightness of the cable. So that's that, I guess. There's not a lot of stress relief where it comes into the housing. However, it does feel pretty durable. There's a little bit. I mean, that black tip there is flexible, and the flat cable seems fairly tough. So it's not something I'd worry about too much. Take care of it, and it should last you a long time. And this adapter also has a nice hard plastic with that same kind of a flexible tip there, and the same kind of a stress relief there as well. So overall, I'd say it's a very good build quality, very good sound quality. For the price, you're not really going to go wrong if you're looking for something that's neutral. If you're a bass head and you like a lot of bass, these probably aren't for you. You could use an EQ, and they do really well with the bass, actually extremely well versus some of the other headphones. But they're not by default very bassy headphones. They do have a good bass and even some sub bass, but it's more of a neutral sound. If you want airiness and super clarity, these are good, but they're not that good for airiness. They have more of a slightly subdued treble that takes away from that real airiness, but they do still give a good sense of 3D depth, and you do hear like noise in recordings that adds to the environmental sound of the recording. So they're not bad in that regard, but they're just not top notch like the Phonax or the Sony XBA3 are actually pretty good in that regard. But overall, I'd say these are a very good value at $150, and I don't think many people would be disappointed if they heard some of the sets at the equivalent price range. So I highly recommend these for the price, and if you have any questions, please post them in the area below. I'd be glad to answer them, and thank you so much for watching.